Okay, I've decided to change the venue for this particular video. Today I'm going to talk about AALBC.com, which stands for the African American Literature Book Club. I'm going to talk about it in the context of our course, um, review it in terms of some of the things that we discussed in terms of social media marketing, search engine optimization, website design, the whole host of topics. Now, it's impossible to discuss everything in a short video, but I'll do my best to touch on the main points. So ALBC.com started out as really an experiment from 1997. At the time, I was building websites for other people. I mean, if you can imagine that. And one of the people that I was building a website for, she sold um, hand pressed flowers. And she really liked the website. And at the time, I was charging her 20 bucks a month for maintenance. And she just wasn't making any money on the website. What I decided to do at the time was to build my own website and use it in an effort to figure out how to earn money on the web. And so in October of 1997, I created this website to sell African American books. I originally set it up as an affiliate program for Barnes& and Noble. So any of the books that I posted on my website, there was links back to Barnes& and Noble's website, and I can earn money through the commissions on those book sales. And by December, I sold my first book, and I really wish I knew what the title of that book was. But one of the things I quickly learned was that the reason it was difficult to make money on the web at that time selling products is, first of all, most people didn't have internet access at home. And if they did have internet access, they weren't likely to transact, put their credit card number into the ether. And so really it was a lesson I quickly learned. But while learning that lesson, I also discovered the world of African American literature, and it became a passion of mine. I created a domain name the following year in 1998, and I've been running the website for over 21 years, and it's been my livelihood for the last 10. So it's something I'm really passionate about. And that passion is what drives me because the challenges that I encountered in the late 1990s don't compare on any level to the challenges that I face in 2019. And I'll talk about some of those challenges later on in this video. The primary focus originally was to sell books, and I did that through an affiliate program from barnesandnoble.com. Today, the website has expanded to not just to talk about books, but I provide profiles for thousands of authors. I've reviewed at least 1,000 books over the years. I host a popular portion of the website where I discuss events. There are a wide variety of resources. Some of them are spun off as separate entities. We have a popular discussion forum that's been running for over 20 years. I have a personal blog, an online book club, and a variety of related articles for authors and readers alike. And in 1997, there was actually quite a bit more competition. There were many more websites that were focused on this particular niche, African American literature. Today, competition from the likes of Amazon has really crushed all of the competition, and so there's not a lot of websites in my space. The way commissions on book sales would work is, let's just pick a book arbitrarily. So I'll go to the book section. Let's look at books that just were published in the last 60 days. I'll pick a popular book. If we click the buy this book now, you'll see that people can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, or borrow the book from the library. In the initial version of the website, people would click the Barnes & Noble link. They would be sent to Barnes & Noble, and then they can purchase the book. And here you see the prices. And okay, so Barnes & Noble has this interstitial ad that pops up, blocking the entire screen, which I'd imagine most web surfers find annoying. Indeed, Google actually uses this as a ranking signal, and it's something that they don't like websites to do. So I'll block this and I'll figure out how to close this ad. Again, you have to hunt for the little X. So that's not an ad type that I would recommend that you run. But at any rate, once at the site, you would simply click the book or drop into your shopping cart, buy it, and I would earn a commission of something like 4%. So 4% on a book that's 12 bucks is roughly between 40 and 50 cents. Not a ton of money. Amazon is selling the paperback book, for close to $2 less. Over time, Amazon has come to dominate the online sales of books. Indeed, the majority of books sold online are sold by Amazon. And in my niche, African American books, I don't have hard figures, but if if someone counted and said it was 90%, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Indeed, I would ask, well, where are the other 10% being sold? At any rate, with the Amazon Prime membership, getting the book in 2 days with free shipping at $2 less than retail, it's impossible to compete with that. So what has happened over time is that my ability to generate revenues through the direct sale of books or through the sale of books through Barnes & Noble has almost evaporated. So I had to change my business model, and that led to the expansion of services and other things. The other thing that's happened is, as Amazon's dominance has increased, Amazon has throttled back on the commissions that they pay. I actually adopted Amazon in the early days of the website simply because Barnes & Noble executed their affiliate program quite poorly. They changed the way their affiliate program ran at least twice, and they did it in such a way that all of the links that I created became broken. I've been using Amazon for over 20 years now, and they have never broken a link. A link that I created in the late 90s works in 2019. It's no surprise that Amazon has dominated the online sale of books. But what they've done to their affiliates, for example, is, initially I could earn 8.5% on the sale of a book. Last year they dropped the commissions to 4%. Also, what they've done is they've increased the emphasis on the sale of ebooks, and ebooks are priced a lot less, many as low as 99 cents. Often authors are giving them away in an effort to increase their visibility. So what that means is that I'm now earning 4% on 99-cent ebooks, which is essentially nothing. Amazon has also reduced the length of the cookie. So originally, if I clicked here, went to Amazon, for the next 30 days, whatever someone purchased, I would earn commission on. Now, the cookie only lasts 24 hours, and if the person logs out, then that cookie dies. So the amount of revenue that I've generated over years through online book sales, even though the number of sales may have increased, the revenue is down sharply. We can kind of see how that has depressed the ability to earn commissions through affiliate programs for online book sales. That brings up another revenue source. So there are affiliate programs. An affiliate program might be something like Vistaprint. So if you click this link, you'll get 20%, $20 off your business card. And this is actually a screenshot of my actual business card. In this case, I will get a credit on the Vistaprint site, which for me is effectively the same as money because I spend money with Vistaprint. Here I have an internal ad where I'm promoting a service where I print books, and that goes off to another site. Here is a Google ad. Here is another program in which I'm promoting the use of Amex cards. Here's another Google ad. And the ads are set up to rotate, so if I reload the page, different ads will appear in different places. Here's an ad sold to a vendor who's offering a great deal on a book giveaway. I also provide services to authors, so the site lists thousands of authors, many authors. I am their primary web presence. So for this particular author, if you go to elizabethnunez.com, you are brought here. So I'm the primary web presence for a number of authors. I also help promote their books through ads that you'll see on the website. So over the years, the revenue streams have changed, but the platform itself is the main driver behind that. One of the things that's important to maintaining the website is making sure that it stays fresh. So if we take a look at some of the old web pages, I was able to take advantage of a website called the Wayback Machine, who archives snapshots of the web, I believe, since the web has become a commercial entity. At any rate, here's a snapshot of the website from 1997, before the website had its own domain. And here it was just a directory off my main website, which was Johnson PC Consultants. Here's the snapshot of the website back in 1998. And if we scroll through the website's different versions, you'll see different types of menu designs, a struggle to, find a design that kind of worked. Here's one of the first versions of the website's logo. And here in 2001, in the first 5 years of the website, there were perhaps 10 versions of the homepage. Here's a version from 2004, 2007. Here's a version from 2016. This was actually one of the first versions of the website that I actually liked. Here's a version from 2018. I no longer use this hero image up at the top of the page. If we take a look at mobile versions of the site, what I found was that, it kind of crowded out content from above the fold. It added some additional overhead in terms of downloading this relatively large image, and it didn't really add much. So I know hero images are popular today, but again, I no longer use them. So indeed, this is not even a current version of the homepage, but it's one I adopted in February of 2018. So it's just a year old. And, who knows how long this version of the homepage will persist. Again, the main thing is you have to update the website in order to keep it from looking stale. Indeed, some people may think this version of the website looks stale, but I do my best. One thing that we talked about in class was the call to action buttons. Originally, this button was green, so I did change it to red in an effort to attract more clicks. But in my case, I actually have not quantified whether or not more people clicked on the ad before or after the change. One of the challenges of running a website by yourself is that there is a tremendous amount of work involved with doing it. Also, what we talked about in terms of ad placement, if we take a look at this particular page, if I put an ad in the middle of this paragraph, it would get noticed. Typically, the more people who click on the ad, the more you earn from it. But I made a decision that I wouldn't embed advertising in the content. All of the ads on the site are listed on the sponsor section on the right-hand side. Hopefully it's clear to people that these are revenue generating clicks. If we were to look at a mobile version of the page, if I was to narrow this down, we see that we do get an ad that pops in here at the top of the page, and then the content flows below it, and that's fine. But I did not want to put ads on the page in an obtrusive fashion. But the exception is that mobile version where I have an ad in the center. Here's my blog, and the blog actually uses WordPress software. One of the things that you can do with WordPress, so WordPress is a CMS or a content management system that allows you to manage, and in this case, a blog, but you can manage a full-blown website. My understanding is that the majority of websites on the web are WordPress. So we have the social media sharing links here, and that's a plugin that I'm using with WordPress. As I scroll the blog, the social media icons persist, but I'm bringing up this document because I want to talk a little bit about how I use social media. And this document was actually required reading for earlier in the course, but I'll point to a pie chart that shows the source of traffic to the website over a 10-year period. And here it's showing the top 10 social platforms. Facebook is this blue chunk. It far and away dominates all of the platforms. So I was very active on Facebook, Twitter, and a wide variety of other platforms. And Facebook dominated all the other sources. This chart shows the growth of Facebook over time. So it came out of nowhere in 2008 and just exploded. But it's important to keep in mind that social media isn't the only source of traffic. So if we looked at social media traffic over that 10-year period prior to 2016, it was less than 3% of my overall traffic. That's important because I invested a great deal of time on marketing on Facebook and Twitter. The time wasn't worth it. Why did it take 10 years to make that determination? Part of it was the draw of Facebook. I was, like everyone else, kind of pulled in, engaging, meeting people I haven't seen in decades, and so forth. But that quickly became old. And when I started looking at it from a business perspective, it just simply wasn't worth my time engaging on the platform, because what I was effectively doing was cannibalizing my website's traffic and bolstering Facebook's traffic. So since then, I've actually dropped my personal account because of all of the issues with monitoring, privacy, manipulation, and so forth. So I just decided to opt out of Facebook altogether. I still have a AALBC Facebook page, but I don't engage on it very much. It's there just to allow people to share information about the site if that's what they like to do. The other thing to note is that there are other ways of attracting traffic to your website. For example, getting backlinks from other websites. They can drive traffic to your site. So if you find a site that has similar information as yours, it's a good idea to request a link or send or link to their sites. One of the things that I do that probably hurts me in terms of Google search engine ranking is that I link out to thousands of other websites, and I link to them, most of them without using the rel nofollow. And I think that's important that indie websites link to each other. So that's something that I do. If you go to my resources section, you'll find links to the top Black-owned websites. This is actively maintained. I'm always looking for good indie sites. I also link to other book websites. Some might think this is, you're sending visitors to your competition, but the reality is we need more book websites in this niche. I can't possibly cover every single book that comes out, although I do think I come close. But I have my own sensibilities, and other websites will have different ones. And it really takes a variety of websites to truly express this category of books. So I link out to other websites, and I encourage other websites to link to me. Another way of generating traffic is to have a newsletter. I list prominently a way for people to subscribe to my newsletter. It's something I send out once or twice a month. I currently have over 17,000 subscribers. Roughly a quarter of them will open up the newsletter. I can use that newsletter to quickly reach out to my audience, something that you really can't do on Facebook anymore. When I first started using Facebook with only a few thousand followers and fans, I was able to reach them much more consistently than you can today. Effectively, there's no organic reach on Facebook. So if a brand or a company like my own wants to reach my own followers, I have to buy an ad. And so that was yet another reason for me to stop using Facebook. So in order to be successful on that platform, you typically have to engage heavily on it and spend money. That makes no sense, at least to me, not from a business perspective. So I actually also sell subscriptions. Generally my subscribers find value in the newsletter, so I'm able to use that as a revenue source. And we shouldn't forget the old-fashioned ways of attracting visitors. I do events all over the country. I have business cards that I hand out at those events. I do a wide variety of things offline to help promote my website. So again, it's important to encourage visitors to your website you can use social media, but don't neglect the traditional means. An old-fashioned email newsletter works wonders. And don't forget the offline marketing and promotion. So let's talk a little bit about search engine optimization. I'm logged out of Google. Google has their search engine results are customized or based upon the person's geography, their browsing habits, a wide variety of factors. So I've logged out in an effort to reduce the bias towards my browsing. So if we come here and do a search on African American literature, we see a number of things. We see Wikipedia ranking first, which is not surprising. We see Wikipedia, content from Wikipedia displayed directly on the search engine results page. We see images taken from a variety of different websites And indeed, everything above the fold is essentially Wikipedia's content. And this is one of the reasons why I would never contribute content to Wikipedia, simply because Google repurposes that information to bolster the value of their search engine results. Here we have links to different African American books that are listed as African American literature books. The Norton Anthology, if we click that link, we are presented with information from Goodreads and a variety of other websites. Again, quite a bit of information directly on the search engine results page. And this is one of the reasons why there's less traffic to indie websites, because often people might be looking for a quick answer. And if the answer is on Wikipedia and Google is taking Wikipedia's content and putting it directly on the search engine results page, there may be no reason for anyone to go to the underlying web page, not Wikipedia, and certainly not another website that provides perhaps superior information to Wikipedia. I'm going to log in and run a different query called African American books. Before I actually hit the enter key, I want to emphasize that last point that I made. Because of Google's dominance, they are responsible for more searches than all the other search engines combined. So it's important to rank on Google. However, if Google increasingly puts information on their search engine results page from sites like Wikipedia, that depresses the amount of traffic that would go to other websites. And that's been a trend that's hurt quite dramatically the diversity and the quality of websites on the World Wide Web. So if websites aren't able to obtain as much traffic as they would if Google were not putting so much information from Wikipedia on their search engine results page, there could be a greater variety and number of indie websites providing great content. The other thing to keep in mind with Wikipedia is that Wikipedia is used by people to drive traffic. Wikipedia is used to slam competitors, to bolster individual websites. Often information is not correct. The editors that edit Wikipedia, some are terrific, others aren't so great. So the information that you'll find on Wikipedia is not very consistent, but they dominate search results, crowding out even the search results from more traditional encyclopedias. But that's the nature of the web, and it's been like that for a decade or more, and I don't see any end to it. But let's do a search on African American books. Now that I've logged in, Google provides me with information about how my site is ranking on African American books. So one of the things that we see here is this little box that only I can see. So in the last 28 days, there were 3 clicks as a result of people doing a search on African American books, 406 impressions, and the average position is 11.6, down 2 positions. So for decades, literally, I've been accustomed to ranking on the first page of the search results for this particular search term. Ranking on the second page, even at the very top of the second page, on average, is almost being invisible. Many people don't go past the first page. Indeed, many people don't have to go past Google's search engine. Being on the second page is pretty bad, and as you can see from this screenshot, there's a lot of information up above the fold that Google is presenting. So here we have ads from other companies, including Amazon. Amazon is the first page of search results, and Amazon's Goodreads. So in the first 5 organic search results are Amazon properties, followed by 2 Barnes & Noble sites. If we go to the second page, where presumably my website is, roughly 15th, again, it's effectively buried. Here's an ad in the middle of the content or images. Another thing to consider with this site is if we just click a book like The Souls of Black Folks. Again, keep in mind we haven't left Google's search engine. I see that I'm now on the 5th page of search results. We see Google providing information from their book website. So they're making the full text of the book available. If we look at Malcolm X's autobiography, we see, again, Google effectively running an online bookstore directly on the search engine results page. And this has effectively killed many book websites. Most of them weren't sophisticated enough to understand why they're not getting traffic. They just weren't getting traffic. And so I've seen a great many high quality book websites go away simply because they could not generate enough traffic in order to survive. Here we have a list of African American books. Now, if you scroll through all of these books, what you'll find on my site is a page which lists the top 100 books of the 20th century. And if you look at these books, you will find that there is a tremendous amount of overlap between the books that I've posted and the books that are on this list. And indeed, I have many, many lists. None of those lists rank very well, but there's more overlap with the books that I have on my lists and what Google is providing on their pages. And given the number of African American books that have been published, the overlap is a bit too good for my comfort, but there's nothing I can actually do about it. But in terms of search engine optimization, if we went to any of these book pages and take a look, so here's a book where it was voted number 3 of the top 100 books of the 20th century, so I have a page for that. It was a 2-time AALBC best-selling book. I have a page for that shows what periods it was a bestseller. It was honored by a National Book Award in 1987. It won a Pulitzer Prize in 1998. So this is a fantastically popular book. It was considered an essential black book by QBR, got an American Book Award in 1998. So here's a page on my site that provides quite a great deal of detail about this particular book. But if I do a Google search on this book, and not only that, there's the book cover, there's information about the category that it's in. If we click these categories, we can see other books in the categories. We can find information out about the author. We can find, author's biography, pictures that I've took, videos that I've shot, as well as all the books that were published by this particular author. Now, arguably, there are not very many sites that provide this level of detail, including Amazon's site. Sure, Amazon has all of the books, but they're not going to have this exclusive content simply because they don't create exclusive content. they use content like many of the other popular websites, like social media, like Google. They use content created by others for the most part. So here, if I do a search on Beloved by Tony, a Google search on that term, how do I rank? So we have Amazon, of course, Wikipedia, of course, Amazon's Goodreads, of course, and a wide variety of other websites. You won't find indie booksellers ranking very well on this query. It's just, again, the nature of the beast. So for pages like this, I can't depend on search or even social media to drive traffic to this page. I have to promote it on my own. If I do a search on Toni Morrison, I'm buried in the search results for Toni Morrison, so I will never get any clicks. It's interesting, I have some impressions, but you're not going to get any clicks on a page that ranks that far behind. So one might wonder, well, geez, how do you get any traffic if Google is hijacking content with content they've copied from other websites, or if they rank Wikipedia and Amazon's websites so high in the search results? How does one get any traffic? I mean, again, I have almost 4,000 authors profiled on my website. There are some authors that I rank really well on, over 3,000 impressions. Interestingly, no clicks, but I'm averaging, on the first page of search results. How about Omar Tyree? So here I'm on the first page of search results. This image here is from my website with no obvious attribution. I have to mouse over it to see the underlying hyperlink. Not a lot of impressions on this particular query, but the average search engine result is on the first page. As I said, I have profile pages for all of these authors and thousands more. If even if there are very few people looking for a specific author, if you're able to rank on many of those pages, you don't have to rank on the most popular authors. You can rank well on lesser known authors, as an example. I'm going to do a search on my name. This is the first search result. One of the other things that I noticed when I searched on my name is that my social media was beating me. And as a result, I stripped out all of my underlying content on my social media pages. And so I don't have any of my social media content coming up because I want my name, I want my properties, my website to come up as a result of search results. Let me do a search on AALBC. There are a number of clicks. So this is in the last month, 161 impressions. Almost everybody who was doing a search on AALBC found what they were looking for effectively in the #1 position. This result is showing different sections of the website. Google is able to pull that up based upon the way the website was set up. There are roughly 134,000 search results on my brand, and that's actually a good thing, and it's one of the reasons why the site drives traffic. Much of what you see here are links. Some of what you see here are links, sure, from social media, but links from other websites. Maybe it was an article about the website on various publications like the Outline or Publishers Weekly. Of course, social media dominates other bookseller websites. Somehow there's a link from Amazon, which is astonishing because Amazon doesn't allow you to post links outside of their website, which is one of the reasons why they dominate. But I have AALBC.com on a product that I sell on Amazon. So while it's not a direct link, the text comes up in search results. There are a wide variety of ways to get traffic to your website that aren't social media, but is a function of having others links to your website. So if I happen to be on another website and someone is linking to me, I can get traffic that way. So let's go back to an author whose page we're ranking really well on. So let's use Zane as an example. Let's take a look at the source code for this page. Here we have a title tag, description meta tag, which includes different information, a bit longer. Some keywords in the title tag include author, best-selling author, publisher, etc. Canonical URL. We have some Twitter cards and descriptions. So if people share information to Twitter, the tag information, the default image, all of that's predefined. So if we look at the images that are used on the website, so there's a alt tag. I probably could be a little more descriptive with that alt tag, and I probably will be. So I'm going to go into my website and say photograph of, Zane, photograph of the author Zane, for example. The title is the text that you see when you mouse over an image. Again, I could perhaps be a bit more descriptive there. If I mouse over this image, we see the word Zane there. If the image is broken or for some reason the person doesn't download the image, maybe they're on a screen reader, they'll see that this is a image of Zane. So again, looking at the content, this is a typical content page. And when you scroll, the menu persists up at the top. There's a search engine built in. It will allow people to find content directly. So if I do a search on Zane, we see we have her information, images from the books. This search engine is provided by Google. We have social sharing. So if I click the image to share on Twitter, this information is already pre-populated, and it will also pull in the image that I've selected. Same thing with Facebook. So the image that I pre-selected as well as this text will get shared to Facebook. The bio is customized, liberally hyperlinked. So again, even if this page ranks relatively well, but that might not always be the case. Google's search engine results change over time. Some years they can be horrendous. Other years they're just okay. They haven't been great in a long time, but they do vary. But the most important thing is to, if you're going to run a website, you have to be passionate about it because you like the subject, or it's generating substantial income, or a combination of those two. There's really nothing else that's going to keep you motivated in order to do it. But I'll tell you, there's nothing better, at least from my perspective, of being able to produce content that others find valuable. So as I said before, my biggest challenges are competing, jumping through Google's hoops in order to maintain a search engine ranking, finding ways to offset, their search engine embedded bookstore. Also competing with Amazon. Can't compete with them on price or delivery or speed of service, but perhaps I can compete with them on content and present information in ways that they simply haven't yet. And social media, dominated by Facebook right now, taking eyeballs away from the rest of the world. For so many, Facebook is the World Wide Web, or Facebook properties like Instagram on mobile is how they engage with the web, and it's not great for indie webmasters, but it's also not great for the end user. They're getting a very biased perspective of the web, and they are literally being manipulated by social media. So that's a challenge to combat. Other trends are the increased use of mobile devices. So this website absolutely has to render properly on a mobile device. Otherwise, people simply will not visit it. An absolute requirement. And 50% of my traffic comes in through mobile devices. And even if that wasn't the case, Google uses your website's ability to display properly on a mobile device as a ranking signal. And in 2019, ranking on Google is probably one of the most important things that you can do in order to drive traffic to your website. They are absolutely a gatekeeper. They control access, individual websites' access um, to visitors. So it's important to do what they say. In the vast majority of cases, what they suggest that you do to optimize your website is actually a benefit for your website. As I said before, how their search engine results page has reduced traffic to indie websites, so you have to operate with that knowledge in mind. Finally, I have to continue to expand my offerings to my website's visitors. I have to continue to add value. I have to continue to be a platform that helps readers discover great books. And over the last 21 years, I've only expanded in my ability to do that despite tremendous challenges. So much of what I've done was made possible by some of the techniques that I taught you in class. This page, for example, is database driven. The code that I used to create this page was the seed of it was the code that I gave you in class. So I took that and expanded it to create essentially all of the pages you see on the website. You might recall here I have 3,600 authors on the website. This particular page is our students page. Instead of having 30 students, it's got 3,600 authors on it. And again, if you click any of the authors, just picking one randomly, that's the same code that I provided you, the same JavaScript, the same PHP code, the same database setup. So this is one of the reasons why I teach that in the class, because it is how I got started improving this particular website. Okay, it's been a pretty long video this time, but if you have any questions, as always, drop them down at the bottom of the page, and I'll see you in class.